How on earth do you get back on plan once you've gotten off plan? This is important. It really helped me when I realized I need to start taking the very long view when it comes to weight loss success. And I've been able to drop 80 pounds and keep it off. One thing I had to realize early on was I'm going to go off plan, but I've got to figure out how to get back on plan. I remember back in 2016, I had gotten very clear on my plan, but a vacation came up and I was so scared because I knew I was going off plan for several days and I was terrified that I would never get back on plan. But what helped me in that moment was to realize every week I'm practicing going off plan and getting back on plan because I take a cheat day. So I realized I have a lot of practice, I'll be okay. And that gave me peace. But there were other times where things would keep coming up and I would keep getting off plan. So in this video, I'm going to give you the 3 steps that I take to get myself motivated to get back on plan. Step 1 is analyze your plan. Okay, take your written plan out and look at what your plan is. Now, if you don't have a written plan, I would highly recommend write your plan down. A lot of times we think we have a plan, but really if we were to try to write it down, we realize, wait, I don't even really know what I'm doing here. That was me back in 2015. From week to week, it changed and I never really knew what I was doing. In 2016, however, that's when I wrote down very clear, simple rules. You know, it was intermittent fasting 6 days a week, cheat day on Sunday, and walk 6 miles every day. If you do have a plan, the next step is to analyze, is this plan too hard? I realized that, nobody's going to give you a medal if you do a really hard plan. It's okay to make your plan easy. In fact, I think that's one reason why I've had so much success with weight loss and keeping it off, because it seems very easy to me. If you find that your plan is simply too hard, I would encourage you, change your rules, make it easier, make it something that you realize yeah, I can do this. Let's say your plan seems, reasonable. You feel like you really can do this and there's just something else going on. Now it's time for step 2, which is the post-mortem. What we're trying to accomplish here is just figure out, why did your plan die, basically? This is an opportunity here because you can find out what's going wrong and you can fix it. Let's say your problem is you're just eating during your fasting window. I find it very helpful to simply ask yourself why, but what happens a lot of times is you don't really know why you're eating. It's I don't know why I ate. But if I ask myself these questions, I generally find the reason. Was I bored? Was I stressed? Was I tired? Did I cave to social pressure to eat? The great news is all of those things are very fixable. When you know why you did something, then you can say, here's how to fix it. For example, let's say you realize, man, I was tired and that's why I caved to eating. One thing you could ask yourself is, why did you not get enough sleep? Maybe the answer is getting in bed earlier, or, maybe you like a late bedtime. Well, then give yourself a nap. Say, well, I'm not going to eat for, that period of time, but I will allow myself to sleep. If you're bored, find some hobbies. If you're stressed, try journaling or taking a walk. If it's social pressure, one thing that helped me was to create some rules around that. So going back and saying, okay, I need to add a rule to my list. I decided when there's a social event that I'm going to, if it would, basically rain on the parade, if I didn't eat, I'm going to eat. And then that became part of the plan. So then I wouldn't feel guilty about going off plan because it is part of my plan. If, however, you're finding that you're eating out of true hunger, then what always worked for me was to just say, okay, I either need to eat more in my eating window or I need to make my eating window longer. I was all about just trying to make this easy. And so if I found that I was not able to stick to my window, I changed the window. After you're finished with your post-mortem, then you have to look at motivation. Now, I personally find that once I've done my post-mortem and I can see, those are the things, the reasons I was going off the plan, and now I've fixed those things, I've taken action, that to me in and of itself is motivating. But if you're still stuck, if it's well, I think, that'll fix it, but I'm just afraid to start because I just think I'll just be right back here, then it's really helpful to go back to your why. Why are you wanting to lose weight in the first place? And if you don't have a clear answer on that, you need to find out, why do you want to do this? Because it takes effort. And lastly, you just have to realize you're at a crossroads right now. You can either quit or you can press on. And what I've found for me personally is I just have to be really stubborn. I really feel like being stubborn was a big asset when it comes to losing weight. I just said, I'm just gonna keep at it and it's maybe gonna take a really long time, but I'm not going back. Because if you decide to quit and you just say, I'm just gonna go back to eating how I used to eat, then you're gonna be back where you were. And for me, that was not an option I wanted. So that's how I motivate myself to keep on going even when I get off plan. I'm curious to know, what are some tips and tricks that you have found to get back on plan once you've been off? Thank you for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below.